Hey YouTube. So I don't usually do reviews like this, but I just recently installed a tower on my boat and I'm really thrilled with it. I'm so impressed with the quality. When I got it, I decided to do some additional recording of the steps it took to install. I'll tell you, it went on pretty easily. I didn't really measure the time, but we're doing this. I did it during the COVID lockdown, so I did it all by myself, and it was pretty flawless install. It is rock solid. It looks great, and it was really cost effective. I have every bit of confidence that it adds as much value to my boat as it costs to put on, which makes it a no-brainer. I did the Reborn launch with the Bimini package, and what you do is you install the tower and then you measure it, and then they send you the Bimini that fits the tower based on the size when you install it. So really excited, but it's rock solid. I did the shake test on it. You'll see I'll do it later in the video. There's no movement at all. The instructions that come with it, I printed them out. They're great. You could install this with the supplied instructions. Like I said, I did it by myself, but I did a bunch of research and just found some additional steps that could be taken to make sure everything goes smoothly and to make it as solid as possible. So watch the video, and like I said, I can't recommend this tower enough. So enjoy. Thanks.
Hey YouTube, the day has come. I've received the Reborn Wakeboard tower in the mail. Been anxiously waiting. I'm going to put it on this 95 Maxim 2000 SR. I went with the Reborn tower. This is the thrust polished. I went with it because it's really reasonably priced. Figured that it's going to add value to the boat, and that pretty much offsets the cost of the actual tower itself. So we're going to do a quick install. Enjoy. Okay, got it unpacked. Went pretty well. Took about 10 minutes or so. It came with these plastic caps on the end, so the instruction says pop those off, don't use them. Just point out that the welds look really good, look solid. Material is pretty thick. It's not too heavy, which is nice. Now I'm going to open up the hardware box. All right, so I'm outdoors here, just looking at how the tower is going to mount to the boat. I covered the mount bases in tape, just masking tape, just to make sure it doesn't scratch side of the boat. That's what the instructions say to do. I'm looking at how it's going to mount, and I basically have an option here. I'm going to try to haphazardly hold this up here. I can mount it on top there, or I can mount it on the side here. Sorry for the shaky video. And if you look at the boat here, the side mount, I've got a lot of access inside of the boat here. I'll show you in a second. So inside on the wall there, I've got plenty of access, but on the top there, it's a little more difficult. I have to do like a custom mounting plate of sorts. And so I'm just gonna wing it. I'll show you the inside real quick and we'll see what we decide. All right, here I'm in the boat, and just gonna show you inside here. Flip it around. Go underneath. So this is up on the top mount. Got all these weird pieces of wood there and stuff. And the side is totally open. So the side is the easy thing to do. The top part is the hard thing to do. Also because the supplied plates are too big for the top to be mounted there. So I'm gonna have to kind of look at this and see what I think is gonna be I just want to explain where I'm at here. So determine where the mount point's going to be based on when it folds forward. I wanted it to land right on top of the windshield. So I also determined that this is a nice flat spot. I've got a lot of room on the inside, and I did do some additional reinforcements in the inside of the hull. I'm not going to cover that in this video because I don't think that's going to be necessary. This is a pretty cheaply built boat. And so I just decided to do that as supplemental. So I've got the front part of the tower mounted, and I'm going to leave the back just not screw the hole yet. I'm currently mounting the front mount on the other side too. What I'm going to do is put the tower on those front mounts, make sure it folds down nice, then bring it up and then mark the back ones exactly where they're going to be before I drill them. That way there's really no room for error. I'll also explain exactly what I'm doing with the holes. First of all, I masked across here just to make sure that I don't scratch any of the gel coat. What I'm doing is I'm going through and going through bits, just starting from an 1/8 inch and then working up to a 1/4 inch, then 3/8, and then the 1/2 inch that eventually you want to drill to. What I'm doing first is drilling them backwards, and essentially that's going to get through the gel coat, and then putting it forwards and then going through the hull, just to make sure that I don't end up with any spider cracking. And then once that's done, you can use a lot of different things, but I'm just taking a router bit and running it backwards. Essentially what you want to do is you want to create a kind of a chamfer, or chamfer, whatever you want to call it, a kind of a gradient, so that the gel coat doesn't spider crack, essentially. And that's that. So this may not be completely advisable, but I don't have a helper with me, so I'm trying to measure this out without having to bring somebody over. So what I've done is I've taken the top pieces off of the side piece, and I've got the front point mounted right there. You can see it's hinging on that front point, and everything else is connected together and reasonably tight. And I essentially am just holding it up and marking it with a pencil on the side of the boat there to get the exact point that I need to mount this at. I think as long as everything's relatively tight, I might actually take it all apart and try tightening everything a little bit more, because I'm getting a little bit of wiggle in the joints there. But this is already showing me that my guesstimated position is not necessarily as accurate as I thought. So it's definitely a good thing to do. Mount the front, then get an exact location on the back. So what I found is I'm actually able to keep the front post assembled on the side, or keep it connected on the side here, and actually just rest it on the back. Now, this is probably not advisable for everybody. This is not a terribly great boat to begin with, so I'm not so worried about if I get a scratch or a dent somewhere. But basically, I'm able to rest it and assemble it just temporarily. I'm actually going to disassemble it, but both sides are connected. My goal is to get the top on, get it all put together on the back, slide it forward. Number one, make sure that all my mount points for the back are going to look good, and then slide it forward to make sure it's resting on the window properly and all that. So that's the goal. So what I've done is I assembled one side, attached it, and then I put on the upper bars, and then I added the middle section. Then I attached the other side, just the front where it pivots, without the upper bars. I slid the upper bars into the top middle section and then attached them to the side. That sounds kind of complicated, I know, but basically on this side I put this up, then attached this and this, and then I put the middle section on, and then I swiveled up the other side, and then put the uppers on that side. Essentially, you have to do it that way in order to get it all together. So I was able to do this all without any help. Essentially, I got it up there. I haven't drilled the back holes yet. My goal here is to move it up, get it into position, secure it, probably with a 2x4 to hold it up, and then from there actually drill the holes on the back, and then mount the thing permanently. Getting close. All right, got the tower up, and you can see I actually was able to, after mounting the front section, I was able to hook a rope from my tow eye back here up to the top, and just raise it up that way and hold it in place while I screwed the other mounts in. I'm just test fitting at this point. I'll likely pull it back down, but yeah, that's it.
Ironically, it went up and everything is completely square and center without any adjustments. That may not be the case with you, but I think the only adjustment really that could be made is sliding the center section to the right and to the left. But I've measured it every which way, and it's within, you know, within reasonable tolerance. Looks great. Everything looks wonderful. You know, honestly, without even screwing things together fully, it's pretty solid as is. So I expect that once I actually get it up and running, it should be good to go. Thanks. So I've got the tower up, but it is not fully bolted together or tightened down yet. Now that it's up, I'm starting to go through and tighten the bolts. Just a reminder, blue thread locker is a good thing to put on this type of scenario. Make sure you also get the lock washer on there. See that washer that's kind of got a split in it. And then I'm just going through one by one and tightening these down, hand tightening. I guess as tight as you can get by your hands, but not machined. And that's about it. I'm up here drilling the holes for the top section. And what I'm finding is the best thing to do is to get a center mark with a little 1/8 inch and just get it as in the center as humanly possible of these areas. And then once you've got that center point, then you can drill with the full 3/8 inch. Now 3/8 inch is really pretty tight, which I think is actually a good thing, because you're really pretty much threading it in to the newly cut surface, which is going to provide even more you know, security for these bolts. Also, an important thing to do is to thread the first one in before you drill the second one, just in case while you're drilling the second one it moves away from the first hole. Just made sense, so I did it, and it seems to be working out pretty well. Well, there you have it. Got the installation finished. Some of you with a sharp eye might notice that I'm missing a single bolt up top, or excuse me, a nut on the end of the bolts. It came with all of them, but I managed to lose it, so I'm just going to go pick it up from the hardware store. Couldn't be happier with the way it went up. It looks sharp. It is really, really sturdy. You notice that there's a little bit of shake there. That's the boat shaking. This thing is literally rock solid onto the boat. I had read all about the shake test, quote unquote, and I assumed that this would pass with flying colors, since there's literally no movement at all in it. All in all, I didn't tally up exactly how much time, because I did this during the coronavirus lockdown, so I didn't have much help, but it was a one-person job. I was able to make it happen. It's just looks sharp, and I'm really anxious to get it out on the water. Wouldn't hesitate to recommend this. It was affordable, and it feels totally solid. Couldn't be happier with it. Thanks, everybody.